The surgical bay doors exploded inward. 6 armed soldiers in tactical gear stormed through, rifles raised, boots pounding against sterile tile. Patients screamed, nurses scattered. Security guards froze mid-reach for their radios. But the man on the gurney, dying, chest punctured, face gray, ignored every weapon pointed at him. His eyes locked onto a woman in scrubs standing by the supply cabinet. Plain, forgettable. The kind of nurse people walk past without a second glance. His bloodied hand trembled upward, and he saluted. Not the doctors, not the brass flanking the entrance. Her. Her jaw tightened. For half a second, something cold flickered across her face, something that didn't belong on a small-town nurse who refilled IV bags and smiled politely at patients. Then it vanished. She turned away, grabbed a tray of gauze, and walked out like nothing happened. If you want to see how a woman they underestimated tore their world apart, stay with me until the very end. Like this video and drop a comment with your city so I can see how far this story travels. The problem with being invisible is that people forget you're watching. Anna Mercer learned that early, learned it the hard way, learned it in ways that left scars you couldn't see under hospital scrubs. She stood at the nurses' station on the 4th floor of Grantham Memorial Hospital in Ashford, Pennsylvania, filling out a medication chart while 2 residents leaned against the counter 10 feet away, laughing about something on a phone screen. One of them glanced her way, smirked, then went back to scrolling. She didn't react. Anna had worked at Grantham for 3 years. Same shift, same floor, same quiet efficiency that made her useful enough to keep around but unremarkable enough to ignore. Brown hair pulled back in a tight ponytail, pale skin that flushed too easily under fluorescent lights. A soft voice people talked over in meetings. Generic, disposable. That's what Dr. Richard Calloway called her once, loud enough for the whole floor to hear. Nurses like Mercer are interchangeable. You plug them in, they do the work, you replace them when they wear out. She'd smiled politely and kept charting, because the thing about being underestimated is that it gives you room to move. The residents finally wandered off, still laughing. Anna finished the chart, clipped it to the board, and headed down the hallway toward room 412. Mrs. Diane Holt, 72. Post-op from gallbladder removal. Stable vitals, minimal pain, discharge scheduled for tomorrow. Anna pushed the door open. Diane was sitting up in bed, staring at the wall. Her breathing was shallow, too shallow. Anna crossed the room in 3 strides. Mrs. Holt? No response. She reached for the woman's wrist. Pulse weak, skin clammy, pupils slightly dilated. Anna hit the call button, then grabbed the blood pressure cuff. Systolic dropping. Fast. The door swung open. A younger nurse poked her head in. What's up? Page Dr. Lindstrom, now. She's stable, though. Chart says, page him. The younger nurse hesitated, then pulled back into the hallway. Anna could hear her muttering something about overreacting, but she didn't care. She was already pulling the crash cart closer, checking Diane's airway, adjusting the bed angle. Diane's eyes fluttered. I feel strange. I know. Stay with me. 2 minutes later, Dr. Marcus Lindstrom strolled in, coffee in hand, looking annoyed. Mid-40s. Receding hairline. The kind of surgeon who believed his title made him infallible. Mercer, what's the... She's bleeding internally, Anna said, not looking up. Probable bile leak. Pressure's dropping. She needs imaging and a surgical consult. Lindstrom set his coffee down, glanced at the monitor, frowned. Her chart says she's stable. Charts can be wrong. Are you diagnosing patients now? Anna met his eyes. I'm telling you what I see. He didn't like that. She could tell by the way his jaw tightened, the way his hand moved to his stethoscope like he needed to prove something. He checked Diane himself, slowly, deliberately, making a show of it. Then his face changed. He grabbed his phone, barked orders into it. Get me an OR, now! Within minutes, Diane was on a gurney, being rushed toward surgery. Lindstrom didn't say a word to Anna, didn't thank her, just walked past like she hadn't just saved a woman's life. But she caught the look he gave her on the way out. It wasn't gratitude. It was resentment. The meeting happened 3 days later. Anna was called into the administration office on the 2nd floor. No warning, no explanation. Just a terse email from Helen Voss, the hospital's chief nursing officer. She walked in to find Voss behind her desk, arms crossed. Dr. Calloway sat in the corner, legs crossed, looking bored. Lindstrom stood by the window, staring out at the parking lot. Voss didn't waste time. "We've received a formal complaint regarding your conduct last week." Anna blinked. "Regarding what?" "You overstepped," Lindstrom said, not turning around. "You made a clinical judgment that wasn't yours to make." "I called for a consult. That's protocol. You contradicted a physician's assessment." "I reported what I observed." Voss cut in, her voice sharp. "You questioned Dr. Lindstrom's competence in front of junior staff. That undermines team cohesion." Anna stared at her. "I saved a patient's life." "That's not the point." "Then what is?" Calloway leaned forward, smiling faintly. "The point, Mercer, is that you don't get to play doctor. You don't get to make calls above your pay grade. You're a nurse. Act like one." The words landed like a slap. Anna kept her face neutral. "Is that all?" Voss opened a folder, slid a paper across the desk. "You're being reassigned, effective immediately. You'll be moved to the overnight shift in the East Wing, minimal patient contact, mostly administrative duties." "You're sidelining me. We're addressing a behavioral issue." Anna looked at the paper, didn't touch it. "And if I refuse?" "Then we'll discuss whether Grantham is the right fit for you." Silence. Anna picked up the paper, folded it once, and stood. "Understood." She walked out without another word. What? The East Wing was where they sent people to disappear. Old equipment, flickering lights, hallways that smelled like bleach and something sour underneath. The patients here were either too poor, too old, or too broken for anyone important to care about. Anna worked alone most nights, restocking supplies, updating outdated records, checking vitals on patients who barely registered in the system. It was quiet. Too quiet. But she didn't complain, didn't push back, just showed up, did the work, and kept her head down. Because if there's one thing a soldier knows, it's how to wait. 2 weeks into her reassignment, the call came in. Anna was in the supply room counting syringes when the overhead PA crackled to life. Code red, ICU. Code red, ICU. She froze. Code red meant VIP patient, high security, federal protocols. She shouldn't have cared. The ICU wasn't her floor anymore, wasn't her problem. But old instincts don't die easy. She moved toward the hallway, then stopped. Voices echoed from the main corridor. Heavy boots, radio chatter. She peered around the corner. Armed soldiers, 6 of them, full tactical gear, rifles slung across their chests. They weren't hospital security. They weren't local police. They were military. And they were escorting a gurney toward the ICU at a dead sprint. Anna's pulse kicked up. She pulled back, pressed herself against the wall, listened. "Vitals dropping. Get him stabilized. Need a surgeon, now." The voices faded as they disappeared through the ICU doors. Anna stood there, heart pounding, mind racing. She shouldn't go, she knew better, but her feet were already moving. The ICU was chaos. Doctors barking orders, nurses scrambling for equipment. The soldiers had formed a perimeter around the trauma bay, weapons low but ready. No one was getting in without clearance. Anna slipped into the observation corridor, a narrow hallway with one-way glass looking into the main ICU. It was supposed to be for family members, but right now it was empty. She pressed close to the glass, watched. The patient was a man, mid-40s, pale, blood-soaked bandages wrapped around his torso. His chest rose and fell in shallow, uneven gasps, and his face... Anna's breath caught. She knew that face. "Jesus," she whispered. It wasn't possible. But there he was, Major Samuel Cross. The name hit her like a freight train. She hadn't heard it in 7 years, hadn't let herself think it. He was supposed to be dead. They all were. The mission in Kandahar province, the ambush, the fire, the screams. Officially, the entire unit was KYA, including her. But here he was, alive, bleeding out on a table in Ashford, Pennsylvania. Anna's hands shook. She forced them still. Through the glass, she watched the doctors work, watched them stabilize him, watched his vitals even out, just barely, and then his eyes opened, slow, groggy, scanning the room. He looked at the doctors, the nurses, the soldiers standing guard. Then his gaze drifted toward the glass, toward her. For a moment, nothing. Then his eyes widened, his lips moved. No sound, but Anna could read them. "Commander." Her stomach dropped. He tried to sit up. The nurses pushed him back down. He fought them, weakly, desperately, his hand reaching toward the glass. One of the soldiers stepped forward, put a hand on his shoulder. "Sir, you need to—" "She's alive," Cross rasped, loud enough for Anna to hear through the glass. "She's here. She's—" A doctor injected something into his IV. Cross's eyes rolled back. He slumped against the bed, unconscious again. The room went still. Then one of the soldiers turned, looked directly at the observation window. Anna stepped back into the shadows. Too late. The soldier was already moving toward the corridor door. She turned, walked fast, didn't run. Running drew attention. Behind her, the door clicked open. "Hey!" She kept walking. "Excuse me, ma'am, I need you to stop." She rounded the corner, slipped into a stairwell, and disappeared. What? The next morning, Anna was called into Voss's office again. This time, there were 2 men in suits waiting. Federal agents. Voss looked pale, uncomfortable. "Miss Mercer, these gentlemen have some questions for you." The taller agent stepped forward. Mid-30s, clean-cut, cold eyes. "I'm Agent Briggs. This is Agent Hale. We need to discuss your presence in the ICU observation corridor last night." Anna kept her face blank. "I was passing through." "At 2 in the morning? I work nights." "In the East Wing," Hale said. "Not the ICU." "I heard the code red. I wanted to make sure I wasn't needed." Briggs studied her. "The patient in that room is under federal protection. His identity is classified. His condition is classified. Everything about him is need to know." "I didn't see anything." "He recognized you." Anna didn't flinch. "I don't know him." "He called you Commander." Silence. Voss looked between them, confused. "What is he talking about?" Anna held Briggs's gaze. He was sedated, confused. People say all kinds of things under anesthesia. "Do they salute people under anesthesia?" Her pulse spiked, but her face stayed calm. "I don't know what you're talking about." Briggs leaned closer. "We ran your background, Ms. Mercer. Clean record. Nursing degree from a community college in Ohio. No military service, no criminal history, no red flags." "Sounds right. Except your social security number was issued 8 years ago. Your employment history before that doesn't exist, and the college you supposedly graduated from has no record of you ever enrolling." Anna's throat tightened. Hale pulled out a tablet, turned it toward her. On the screen was a photograph. A woman in military fatigues. Short hair. Hard eyes. Dog tags around her neck. The woman looked exactly like Anna, but the name underneath read, Lieutenant Commander Evelyn Kane. "Ring any bells?" Hale asked. Anna stared at the photo. Didn't blink. "No." Evelyn Kane was declared KYA 7 years ago in Afghanistan. Entire unit wiped out in a classified operation. No survivors. "Then she's dead." "Is she?" Anna looked up. "I'm a nurse. I don't know anything about Afghanistan." Briggs straightened. "Stay away from that patient. Don't go near the ICU. Don't talk to anyone about this. If we find out you're lying, we'll bury you so deep you'll forget your own name." He turned, nodded to Voss. "Keep her away from restricted areas." They left. Voss stared at Anna, pale and shaken. "What the hell was that?" Anna stood. "I need to get back to work." "Anna, I said I need to get back to work." She walked out. Shus. That night, Anna stood in her apartment staring at the photo on her phone, the one she'd screenshotted before Hale pulled the tablet away. Lieutenant Commander Evelyn Kane Mseting. She hadn't heard that name in 7 years, hadn't let herself be that person. But Cross was alive, which meant someone else might be too, and if they were, they'd come for her. She deleted the photo, turned off her phone, and sat in the dark, waiting. The hospital was different the next day, quieter. Anna felt it the moment she walked in, eyes on her, whispers cutting off when she passed. People who used to ignore her now watched her like she was a bomb waiting to go off. Voss pulled her aside before her shift started. "You're suspended, pending investigation." Anna didn't argue, just turned and walked toward the exit. She made it halfway across the parking lot before she heard the explosion. The ICU wing, glass shattered. Smoke poured from the upper floors. Alarms screamed. Anna spun, ran back toward the building. People were streaming out, coughing, panicking. She pushed through them, against the current, into the smoke. Someone grabbed her arm. "You can't go in there!" She yanked free, kept moving. The stairwell was chaos. People stumbling down, gasping for air. Anna climbed past them, higher, toward the ICU. The smoke thickened. She pulled her shirt over her mouth, squinted through the haze. The ICU doors were blown open. Inside, the lights flickered. Equipment sparked. Bodies, nurses, doctors, lay motionless on the floor. And in the center of the room, 3 men in black tactical gear stood over Cross's bed. One of them raised a pistol. Anna didn't think. She moved, fast. Grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall, hurled it. It hit the gunman in the shoulder. He staggered, fired wild. The shot went high. Anna was already inside, already closing the distance. The second man turned, swung his rifle toward her. She ducked under it, drove her elbow into his throat. He dropped, choking. The third man lunged. Anna sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, twisted. Bone snapped. He screamed. She took his rifle, flipped it, slammed the stock into his temple. He collapsed. The first gunman was back on his feet, aiming at her. Anna fired first. The shot echoed. He went down. She stood there, breathing hard, rifle in hand, smoke curling around her. Cross was staring at her from the bed, wide-eyed, barely conscious. "Commander?" he whispered. Anna lowered the rifle. Behind her, footsteps. She turned. A dozen soldiers poured into the room, weapons raised. And standing in the doorway, flanked by federal agents, was a man in a crisp military uniform. Brigadier General Nathan Graves. He looked at the bodies, at Anna, at the rifle in her hands. Then he smiled. "Hello, Evelyn." Anna's finger tightened on the trigger, not enough to fire, just enough to remind everyone in the room that she could. Graves didn't flinch. He stood there in his pressed uniform, silver stars gleaming under the flickering emergency lights, hands clasped behind his back like he was inspecting a parade ground instead of a crime scene. "Lower the weapon, Evelyn." She didn't move. The soldiers around him shifted, rifles raised higher. Red laser dots danced across her chest. 12 of them. Maybe more. Graves sighed. "You just killed 3 contractors in a federal hospital. You're holding military-grade hardware without authorization, and you're supposed to be dead." He tilted his head. "So either you put that rifle down, or my men put you down. Your call." Anna's jaw clenched. She could feel Cross watching her from the bed, could hear his labored breathing mixing with the wail of distant sirens. She lowered the rifle, slowly, set it on the floor, kicked it toward the nearest soldier. Graves nodded. "Smart." He gestured to 2 of his men. "Secure her." They moved fast, grabbed her arms, yanked them behind her back. Zip ties cut into her wrists. Anna didn't resist. Graves stepped closer, studying her face like he was looking at a ghost. 7 years. You've aged well." She said nothing. "Where have you been?" "Here." "Doing what? Playing nurse?" "Staying alive." His eyes narrowed. "Who else knows?" "No one." "Bullshit." He glanced at Cross. "He recognized you. Who else?" "He was the first." Graves considered that. Looked at the bodies on the floor, back at her. "These men weren't ours." "I know." "Then who sent them?" Anna met his eyes. "Same people who sent us into that valley 7 years ago." The room went very still. Graves's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his eyes. Anger, or maybe fear. He turned to the soldier nearest him. "Clear the floor. No one in or out. Lock it down." Then to Anna. "You're coming with me." They dragged her out through the smoke-filled hallway, past nurses huddled against walls, past patients being evacuated on gurneys. Someone shouted her name, one of the overnight staff, but the soldiers kept moving, pulling her toward the stairwell. Down 3 flights, out through a side entrance, into a black SUV idling in the emergency lane. They shoved her into the back seat, Graves climbed in beside her. The door slammed shut. The driver pulled away before Anna even caught her breath. She looked out the window. Grantham Memorial was chaos. Fire trucks, ambulances, police cruisers blocking every exit, news vans already setting up across the street, and she was leaving, again. Graves didn't speak for the first 10 minutes, just sat there, staring at his phone, scrolling through something Anna couldn't see. Finally, he put it away. Major Cross is stable for now. Anna said nothing. The explosion was C4, planted in the ventilation shaft above the ICU, detonated remotely. He paused. Someone wanted him dead. Obviously. But they didn't get him, because you were there. Graves turned to look at her. Coincidence? I don't believe in coincidence. Neither do I. The SUV turned onto a highway on-ramp heading north. Trees blurred past. No other cars followed. Graves leaned back, folded his arms. Tell me what happened in Kandahar. Anna's throat tightened. You read the report. I read the official version. Ambush. Enemy fire. Total loss. 18 soldiers KIA. His voice dropped. But you didn't die, did you? No? And Cross didn't either. Apparently not. Who else? Anna hesitated. I don't know. Guess. I can't. Graves leaned forward, voice hard. Evelyn, listen to me very carefully. Someone just tried to kill a decorated officer in a civilian hospital using military-grade explosives. That's not random. That's surgical. Which means whoever's behind this knows Cross survived. And if they know about him, they know about you. They've always known. Then why wait 7 years to move? Anna looked at him. Because he woke up. Graves went quiet. She continued, choosing her words carefully. Cross was never supposed to leave that table. Neither was I. But he did, and when he opened his eyes, he saw me. She paused. That's the problem. We're not ghosts anymore. Who are we talking about? You know who. Say it. Anna's voice dropped to barely a whisper. Odin? The name hung in the air like a curse. Graves's face went hard. That's a rumor. Is it? It's a ghost story soldiers tell each other when they want to blame someone for their own mistakes. I was there. I saw the orders. I know what we were sent to find. You were sent to secure a weapons cache. We were sent to secure evidence, Anna corrected. Evidence of illegal testing, human trials, soldiers used as lab rats for experimental bioweapons. She leaned forward, wrists still bound behind her. And when we found it, someone made sure we didn't come back. Graves stared at her. You have proof? I had proof. It burned with the convoy. Then it's your word. And Cross's, if he remembers. He remembered me. Graves rubbed his face, suddenly looking older, tired. Even if you're right, Odin doesn't exist on paper. No budget line, no personnel records, just whispers and redacted files. Then someone's very good at hiding. Or you're chasing shadows. Anna smiled, cold and bitter. Shadows don't plant C4. The SUV slowed. They were pulling into a gated facility. High fences, guard towers, no signs. Military installation. Black site, maybe. The gate rolled open. They drove through. Graves's phone buzzed. He checked it, frowned. We've got a problem. Another one? Cross is asking for you. Won't talk to anyone else. Smart man. If I bring you to him, you stay quiet. You listen. You don't say anything that could compromise an ongoing investigation. Anna raised an eyebrow. What investigation? The one I just opened. The SUV stopped in front of a low concrete building. Unmarked. Windowless. Graves climbed out. A soldier opened Anna's door, pulled her to her feet. They walked her inside, through a narrow hallway lit by fluorescent strips, past doors with biometric locks. One of the doors opened. Inside was a hospital room, smaller than the ICU. Cleaner. Cross lay in the bed, hooked to monitors, IV drip in his arm. His eyes were open. When he saw Anna, he tried to sit up. Easy, Graves said, moving to his bedside. You're still recovering. Cross ignored him, looked straight at Anna. They told me you were dead. Her voice came out rough. They told me the same about you. How long have you been here? 3 years. And you didn't... He stopped, coughed, winced. You didn't reach out? I couldn't. Why not? Because reaching out gets people killed. Cross stared at her, understanding dawning. He looked at Graves. Sir, I need to speak with her, alone. Graves shook his head. Not happening. That's an order, General. You're not in command anymore, Major. I'm the highest-ranking survivor of Operation Pale Horse. That gives me authority over any testimony related to it. Cross's voice was weak but steady. So unless you want to explain to Congress why you obstructed a witness, you'll leave. Graves's jaw tightened. He looked at Anna, then back at Cross. 5 minutes. He walked out. The door clicked shut. Cross sagged against the pillows, breathing hard. He's going to record this. I know. You okay with that? Anna shrugged. Doesn't matter anymore. Cross studied her face. You look different. So do you. I mean it. You look smaller, like you're trying to disappear. I was. Did it work? For a while. He closed his eyes. I thought I was the only one. So did I. How'd you get out? Anna moved closer to the bed, awkward with her hands still bound. Crawled. 3 miles through rocks and fire. Found a village, stole clothes, walked to Kabul, bribed my way onto a transport. Then what? Landed in Germany, burned my tags, bought a fake passport, flew to New York. She paused. Became someone else. Anna Mercer. Yeah. Why a nurse? Because no one looks at nurses. Cross opened his eyes, looked at her hard. They're going to ask questions about the ambush, about what we found. I know. If we tell the truth, we're dead. We're dead anyway. Not if we're careful. Anna laughed, sharp and bitter. Careful? They just blew up a hospital, Sam. Careful is off the table. Cross didn't argue. He knew she was right. The door opened. Graves stepped back in, arms crossed. Time's up. Anna turned to face him. Cut the ties. Not a chance. Then we don't talk. You don't get to negotiate. Actually, I do. She nodded toward Cross. He won't say a word unless I'm free. And you need what he knows. Graves stared at her, long and hard. Then he pulled a knife from his belt, stepped behind her, and sliced through the zip ties. Anna rubbed her wrists, felt blood returning to her fingers. Graves pointed at a chair. Sit. She sat. He pulled up another chair, facing her. Start from the beginning. Anna glanced at Cross. He nodded. She took a breath. Operation Pale Horse, September 19th, 7 years ago. 18 soldiers, one objective, secure a cache of Russian-made weapons in a compound outside Kandahar. Graves pulled out a tablet, started taking notes. Go on. Except it wasn't Russian weapons. It was American. Anna's voice hardened. Prototypes. Biological agents. Designed to enhance combat performance, adrenaline accelerators, pain suppressors, neural stimulants. That's classified research. It's illegal research, and it was being tested on soldiers without their knowledge. Graves looked up. You have proof? We had files, vials, medical records, everything. Anna leaned forward. We loaded it into the convoy. 17 crates. We were supposed to extract, deliver it to command, let them handle it. What happened? Someone called in an airstrike. The words landed like a bomb. Graves went very still. On your own position? On the convoy, 2 miles from the compound. We were halfway to the rendezvous point when the first missile hit. Anna's hands clenched. No warning, no enemy contact, just fire from the sky. Who authorized it? That's the question, isn't it? Cross spoke up, voice rough. I was in the lead vehicle, saw the contrail, radioed for confirmation, got static. Then the second missile hit. He looked at Graves. It wasn't enemy fire, sir. It was ours. Graves set the tablet down. That's a serious accusation. It's the truth. Can you prove it? The flight logs will show it, if they haven't been scrubbed. Graves stood, paced the small room. Let's say you're right. Let's say someone ordered a strike on your convoy. Why? Anna answered. Because we found something they couldn't let get out. Something worth killing 18 soldiers to bury. And you think Odin gave the order? I don't think I know. How? Anna hesitated. This was the part she'd never told anyone. The part that kept her awake at night for 7 years. She met Graves's eyes. Because I heard the voice on the radio, right before the strike. It was encrypted, scrambled, but I caught 3 words. What words? Pale Horse Protocol. Graves frowned. That's not a real protocol. It is if you're Odin. He stared at her. You're saying there's a kill order built into the operation itself. A fail-safe. I'm saying we were never supposed to come back. The room went silent. Cross shifted in the bed. Sir, if she's right, then everyone who knows about Pale Horse is a target, including us. And including anyone who helps us, Anna added, looking directly at Graves. The general didn't respond, just stood there, thinking. His phone buzzed. He checked it. His face went pale. Anna felt her stomach drop. What? Graves looked up. There's been another incident. Where? Cleveland. 2 hours ago. AVA Hospital. He read from the screen. Explosion in the psychiatric wing. 3 dead. Multiple injured. Anna's blood ran cold. Who were the dead? Graves scrolled. Staff members, doctors, and... He stopped. And what? A patient, former sergeant, served in Afghanistan. He looked at Cross. He was in your unit. Cross's face went white. Who? Sergeant Luis Ramos. Anna felt the floor tilt. Ramos, she remembered him. Young, scared, good with radios. He'd survived, and now he was dead. Cross's voice shook. Who else is alive? Graves tapped the screen. I'm pulling service records now. He paused. There were 18 soldiers in that convoy. Official count, 18 KIA. But if you two made it out, and Ramos did, then there could be more, Anna finished. Graves nodded slowly. And someone's hunting them. Anna stood. We need to find them first. We don't even know who we're looking for. I do. Anna turned to Cross. Do you remember Corporal Jensen, the medic? Cross nodded. Yeah, why? Because she pulled me out of the wreckage, patched me up, told me to run. Anna's voice dropped. If anyone else survived, she'd know. Graves pulled up another screen. Corporal Sarah Jensen, listed as KIA, body never recovered. Then she's alive. Or actually dead. Anna shook her head. She's alive. I'd bet my life on it. You already are. The door burst open. Agent Briggs stood there, flanked by 2 soldiers. He looked at Graves. Sir, we have a situation. What now? The hospital. Local PD found something in the wreckage. What? Briggs held up an evidence bag. Inside was a scorched piece of metal, a dog tag. Anna recognized it immediately. It was hers. Briggs looked straight at her. We also found your apartment. Cleaned out, wiped, like you were never there. He stepped closer. So here's my question, Ms. Mercer, or should I say Commander Kane. Where exactly were you planning to run? Anna said nothing. Graves cut in. She's in federal custody, under my authority. Not anymore. Briggs pulled out a folded document. Federal warrant. Material witness. Possible accomplice to domestic terrorism. He handed it to Graves. She's coming with me. Graves scanned the paper. His jaw tightened. This is garbage. It's legal. It's a setup. It's a court order. Briggs gestured to his men. Take her. They moved toward Anna. She stepped back. Don't! Ma'am, you need to... She grabbed his wrist, twisted. He yelped, stumbled. The second soldier raised his rifle. Graves shouted, Stand down! No one moved. Anna held the first soldier's arm at an angle that made him wince. I'm not going anywhere with you. Briggs pulled his sidearm. Let him go. No. I will shoot you. Then shoot. Cross tried to sit up, failed. General, don't let them... Graves stepped between Anna and Briggs. Put the gun down. She's resisting arrest. She's under military protection. Not according to this warrant. I don't care what the warrant says. Graves's voice went ice cold. She's a witness to a federal crime. You take her, she disappears, and I will personally make sure your career ends in a hole so deep they'll need sonar to find you. Briggs didn't lower the gun. You're obstructing justice. I'm protecting an asset. She's a fugitive. She's a soldier. The standoff stretched. Anna could feel the soldier's pulse hammering under her grip, could see Briggs's finger tightening on the trigger. Then Graves's phone rang. He answered without looking away from Briggs. What? A pause. His expression changed. When? Another pause. Jesus Christ, Val. He lowered the phone, looked at Anna. Let him go. She hesitated. Now. Anna released the soldier. He stumbled back, rubbing his wrist. Graves turned to Briggs. You need to see this. He held up his phone. On the screen was a news broadcast. Live footage. A building on fire. The caption read, Breaking, explosion at Walter Reed Medical Center. Casualties unknown. Anna's heart stopped. Briggs stared at the screen. That's the presidential medical facility. I know. Who the hell is doing this? Graves looked at Anna. Someone with unlimited resources and zero accountability. Anna's mind raced. Walter Reed, the biggest military hospital in the country. If they hit that, they weren't just cleaning up loose ends. They were sending a message. Briggs holstered his weapon. I need to make a call. He walked out. The soldiers followed. The door closed. Graves turned to Anna and Cross. We're out of time. Anna nodded. We need to move. Now. Move where? Anywhere but here. Cross coughed. I can't exactly walk out of here. Then we carry you. Graves shook his head. You won't make it 10 feet. This facility is locked down. Armed guards at every exit. So we go through them. That's suicide. Anna looked at him. Staying here is suicide. Graves opened his mouth to argue. Then the lights went out. Emergency backup kicked in. Red glow. Alarms blaring. Anna's instinct screamed. She moved to the door, pressed her ear against it. Heard shouting. Gunfire. Graves pulled his sidearm. What the hell? The door exploded inward. Smoke filled the room. Figures moved through it. Black tactical gear, night vision goggles. Anna dove behind the bed. Graves fired twice. Someone grunted, went down. Return fire shredded the wall above Anna's head. Cross rolled off the bed, hit the floor hard. Shit! Anna grabbed him, dragged him toward the corner. He was dead weight, gasping. IV ripped from his arm. More gunfire. Graves was pinned behind the doorframe, firing blind. One of the figures stepped into the room, raised a rifle, aimed at Cross. Anna lunged, grabbed the rifle barrel, shoved it up. The shot went high. She drove her knee into the figure's gut, ripped the weapon free, swung it like a club. The stock connected with a helmet. Crack. The figure dropped. Anna spun, fired at the doorway. 2 shots. Someone screamed. Graves shouted, "We need to go!" Anna grabbed Cross under the arms, hauled him up. He was barely conscious, blood soaking through his hospital gown. They stumbled toward the door. The hallway was chaos. Bodies, smoke, sparks raining from shattered lights. Graves led the way, firing at shadows. Anna followed, half-dragging Cross, scanning for threats. A figure stepped out from a side corridor. Anna swung the rifle. The figure raised empty hands. "Don't shoot!" It was a woman. Mid-30s, short dark hair, tactical vest, but no weapon. Anna kept the rifle trained on her. "Who are you?" The woman's eyes locked onto Cross. Then Anna. Recognition flashed across her face. She smiled. "Commander Kane, it's been a long time." Anna's blood turned to ice, because she knew that voice. Corporal Sarah Jensen, the medic who'd saved her life 7 years ago, and who, according to every record, was supposed to be dead. Jensen's smile didn't reach her eyes. She looked past Anna, taking in the carnage, the bodies, the smoke still curling from the blown door. "We don't have time for reunions," Jensen said. "They're sweeping the building floor by floor. You've got maybe 90 seconds before the next wave." Anna didn't lower the rifle. "Why are you here?" "Same reason you are. Trying not to die." Graves moved up beside Anna, weapon raised. "Identify yourself." Jensen's gaze shifted to him. "Corporal Sarah Jensen, formerly attached to Operation Pale Horse, currently off the grid and extremely motivated to stay that way." "You're listed as dead." "Yeah. Turns out dying's easier than you'd think when the people writing the reports want you buried." She looked at Cross, still slumped against Anna. Major Cross needs a hospital, real one. This place is compromised. How did you find us? Anna asked. Same way they did. I've been tracking military networks for anomalies. Cross's medical intake pinged every alarm I have. Jensen glanced down the hallway. We can compare notes later. Right now we need to move. Graves didn't budge. You could be working with them. If I was working with them, you'd already be dead. Jensen pulled something from her vest. A small tablet. She turned it toward them. On the screen was a facility map. Red dots moving through the corridors. Converging. 30 meters out, she said. Make a choice. Anna looked at Graves. He looked back. Some unspoken calculation passed between them. He nodded. Jensen turned, moved down the hallway at a controlled jog. Anna and Graves followed, Cross between them, feet dragging. They passed more bodies, some in tactical gear, some in military uniforms. The walls were pocked with bullet holes. Fire suppression systems had kicked in, spraying everything with chemical foam. Jensen stopped at an intersection, checked her tablet. Left, service elevator, 40 meters. They turned left. Behind them, voices echoed. Orders being shouted, boots pounding concrete. The elevator was there, doors open. Jensen hit a button. The doors started to close. A rifle barrel jammed between them. The doors bounced back. 3 soldiers rushed in. Anna recognized the uniforms. Not contractors, not private security. U.S. Army, her own people. The first one raised his weapon. On the ground, now! Graves stepped forward, showing his rank. Stand down, soldier. I'm General Nathan Graves. These people are under my tool. General Graves is wanted for questioning in connection with domestic terrorism and obstruction of justice. The soldier's voice was flat, rehearsed. You're all coming with us. Anna felt her stomach drop. They'd gotten to the military, turned her own chain of command against her. Jensen moved fast, grabbed the soldier's rifle, yanked it down. He fired. The bullet punched through the elevator floor. She drove her palm into his nose. Blood sprayed. He staggered back. The second soldier swung his weapon toward her. Anna kicked low, caught him in the knee. Something popped. He went down screaming. The third one hesitated. Graves didn't. He fired once. Center mass. The soldier dropped. Jensen slammed the button. The doors closed. The elevator lurched downward. Anna leaned against the wall, chest heaving. Cross had passed out again. Graves was checking the soldier he'd shot, feeling for a pulse. Dead, he said quietly. Jensen didn't respond. Just watched the floor indicator. B2, B3, B4. Where does this go? Anna asked. Maintenance level, tunnel access. There's a service road about half a mile out. Jensen looked at her. You still drive? Yeah. Good. Because I parked 3 blocks away and we're not walking. The elevator stopped. Doors opened onto a dimly lit corridor, pipes along the ceiling, concrete walls sweating moisture. They moved out. Jensen took point again. Graves and Anna carried Cross between them. The tunnel stretched ahead, no end in sight. How long have you been tracking us? Anna asked. 6 months. Ever since I caught wind that Ramos was still alive, Jensen's voice echoed off the walls. Took me 4 years to confirm anyone else made it out. Ramos was the first, then I found traces of you. Nothing solid, just gaps. Places where someone should have existed, but didn't. You could have reached out. And said what? Hey, remember me? Want to get hunted together? Jensen shook her head. I stayed hidden because hidden meant alive. Then Ramos died, and I knew the clock was running. They reached a junction. Jensen checked her tablet, cursed. What? Graves asked. They're in the tunnel, behind us. Anna looked back, saw flashlight beams cutting through the darkness, distant but closing. How many? 8, maybe 10. We can't outrun them, not carrying him. Jensen stopped walking, turned to face them. Then we don't run. She pulled something else from her vest. 3 small devices, cylindrical, magnetic bases. Graves recognized them. Proximity mines. Borrowed them from a friend. Jensen moved back down the tunnel, started placing them along the walls. These corridors are narrow. Shaped charges will funnel the blast. Anyone coming through here is going to have a very bad day. Anna set Cross down gently against the wall, moved to help Jensen. They worked fast, spacing the mines out, setting the triggers. Graves kept watch, weapon ready. The flashlight beams were closer now, voices carrying down the tunnel. Check every junction. Can't have gone far. Jensen armed the last mine, looked at Anna. That's it. We go. Now. They picked Cross back up, moved deeper into the tunnel. Behind them, the voices grew louder, then stopped. Anna counted seconds in her head. 5, 4, 3. The first explosion hit like a physical blow. The tunnel shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. Second explosion, closer. The shockwave knocked Anna forward. She stumbled, kept moving. Third explosion. The tunnel roared, flames rolled past them, chasing down the corridor before being sucked back by the vacuum. Then silence, broken only by their footsteps and the sound of Cross's labored breathing. That'll slow them down, Jensen said. They kept moving. The tunnel opened into a wider space, some kind of utility hub. Generator room, maybe. Metal stairs leading up to a heavy door. Jensen climbed first, tested the door. Locked. She pulled out a small toolkit, worked the lock. 10 seconds. The mechanism clicked. She pushed the door open. Night air rushed in. Cool. Clean. They were in an alley. Dumpsters, chain-link fence, streetlights beyond. Jensen led them to a van parked at the curb. Unmarked. White. Panel doors. She opened the back. Put him in. They laid Cross on a makeshift cot. Jensen climbed in, started checking his vitals. He's stable. Barely, needs fluids, antibiotics, but he'll make it. Graves looked at Anna. Where do we go? Anna thought. Everywhere was compromised. Every hospital, every military facility. Anywhere they had records, they had reach. We need somewhere off the grid, she said. Jensen looked up from Cross. I know a place. Old safe house. Used it during the first year. No official record. No digital footprint. How far? 6 hours. Pennsylvania border. Middle of nowhere. Anna nodded. Do it. They climbed into the van. Jensen behind the wheel. Graves in the passenger seat. Anna in the back with Cross. The engine started. They pulled away from the curb. Anna watched through the rear windows as the facility disappeared behind them. Watched for pursuit. Nothing. Not yet. Cross stirred. His eyes opened, unfocused. We're moving, Anna said. You're safe. Jensen? She's here. He tried to sit up, failed. Can't trust anyone. I know. They're everywhere. His hand found Anna's arm, gripped it. You don't understand. Odin isn't a person. It's a network. People in every branch, every level. Anna felt cold. How many? I don't know. Dozens. Maybe more. His breathing quickened. They offered me a deal. After the ambush. Said I could live if I stayed quiet. Why didn't you take it? Because I saw what they did to the others. The ones who said yes. His eyes met hers. They didn't live. They just died slower. Graves turned in his seat. What others? Cross's voice dropped. There were survivors, more than just us. They rounded them up, said they'd be debriefed, protected. He coughed. They were disappeared, one by one. How do you know? Because I was there. I watched it happen. And I ran. Anna's mind raced. How many survivors? 7, including me and Jensen. He looked at her. And you? 7 out of 18. Yeah. Where are the others? Dead, I think. I lost track after Cleveland. Cross's grip tightened. That's why they're moving now. Because we found each other. Because we're talking. Jensen called back from the driver's seat. He's right. Ramos reached out to me 2 weeks ago. Said he remembered something. Wanted to compare notes. I told him to lay low. He didn't listen. She paused. 3 days later, he was dead. The van merged onto a highway, sparse traffic, mostly trucks at this hour. Anna pulled out her phone. Realized she still had it. Realized that was a problem. She powered it down, removed the battery, tossed both parts out the window. Graves watched her. Did the same with his. Jensen glanced in the rearview mirror. Smart, but they don't need your phones. They have satellites, traffic cams, facial recognition at every major intersection. Then how do we stay hidden? We don't. Jensen took an exit, headed north on a smaller road. We keep moving, we stay unpredictable, and we hit back. Hit back how? By finding proof. Real proof. The kind that can't be buried or burned. She looked at Anna in the mirror. You said you heard the radio transmission. The Pale Horse Protocol. Yeah. That transmission was logged somewhere. Every communication goes through relay stations. Gets archived. They'll have scrubbed it. Maybe. Maybe not. Military systems have redundancies. Backups that even the brass don't know about. Jensen's voice hardened. I spent 4 years learning their systems, how they work, where they're weak. If that transmission exists, I can find it. Graves leaned back. And if you find it, what then? Then we have evidence. We take it to someone who can't be bought. Like who? Congress? The press? Everyone's compromised. Not everyone. Jensen glanced at him. There are still people who care about the truth. We just have to find them. The van drove on. Anna watched the landscape blur past. Trees, fields, darkness. Cross had fallen asleep again. His breathing was steadier now. She thought about the 7 survivors, thought about Ramos, about whoever else was out there, hiding, waiting, thought about the people hunting them. We need a list, she said. Jensen nodded. Already working on it. Names, locations, anyone connected to Pale Horse, anyone who might know something. That's a lot of targets. Then we better move fast. Anna looked at Graves. You're in deep now. You know that. He met her eyes. I knew that the moment I pulled you out of that hospital. You could still walk away. No, I couldn't. He turned back to face the windshield. I've spent 30 years serving this country. I'm not going to stand by while someone uses it to cover up murder. The van turned onto a dirt road. No streetlights, no houses. Jensen killed the headlights, navigated by moonlight. They drove for another 10 minutes, stopped in front of a small cabin. Single story. Wood frame, half hidden by trees. Jensen climbed out, checked the perimeter, came back. Clear. They carried Cross inside. The cabin was sparse. Cots, a wood stove, shelves stocked with canned food and bottled water. Jensen had prepared for this. They laid Cross on a cot. Anna found a first aid kit, started cleaning his wounds properly. Graves built a fire in the stove. Jensen stood by the window, watching the road. How long do we have? Anna asked. Maybe a day? Maybe less. Jensen pulled out a laptop from a bag hidden under the floorboards. I need to start digging, find that transmission, find the other survivors. I'll help. You know how to crack military encryption? I know how to follow orders and think on my feet. That'll have to do. Jensen smiled faintly. Fair enough. They worked through the night. Jensen pulled up databases, accessed networks Anna didn't know existed. Graves kept watch, rotating between windows. Cross woke up twice, asked for water, asked where they were, fell back asleep. By dawn, Jensen had something. Found a relay station. Virginia. Archived transmissions from the Kandahar region. She scrolled through data. It's heavily encrypted, but there's a gap. September 19th, 2 hours of missing data. Missing or deleted? Deleted. Badly. They left fragments. Jensen's fingers flew across the keyboard. I might be able to reconstruct it. Anna watched over her shoulder, watched lines of code scroll past, watched Jensen work. How long will it take? Hours, maybe days. We don't have days. Then I'll work faster. Graves's phone buzzed. He'd found a burner in the cabin, checked the message. His face went pale. What? Anna asked. He turned the phone toward her. On the screen was a news alert. Breaking. Federal manhunt underway for rogue general and suspected domestic terrorists. Brigadier General Nathan Graves wanted in connection with hospital attack. 3 accomplices named Anna Mercer, Samuel Cross, Sarah Jensen. Armed and extremely dangerous. $500,000 reward for information leading to capture. Below the text were photos. Their photos. Anna stared at her own face. A hospital ID photo from Grantham Memorial. Smiling, professional. Now plastered across every news outlet in the country. They flipped the script, Graves said quietly. Made us the terrorists. Jensen didn't look away from her laptop. Of course they did. That's how you bury people. You make them the enemy. Anna felt something cold settle in her chest. Not fear, something else. Clarity. Then we give them an enemy, she said. Graves looked at her. What? They want to paint us as terrorists? Fine, let them. But we don't run. We don't hide. Anna stood. We go public. Tell our story. Show them what really happened. They'll kill us before we get the chance. Maybe. Or maybe we're already dead. She looked at Jensen. Can you broadcast? Send a message that can't be shut down? Jensen's hand stopped typing. She turned, looked at Anna. You want to make a statement? I want to tell the truth. That's suicide. Everything's suicide at this point. Jensen thought. Nodded slowly. I can do it. Hijack a network feed, upload to every major platform simultaneously. They'd shut it down eventually, but not before it goes viral. How long to set up? Couple hours. Anna looked at Graves. Your call. You're still the ranking officer. Graves was quiet for a long moment, staring at nothing, thinking. Finally, he spoke. Do it. Jensen turned back to her laptop, started typing again. Anna walked outside. The sun was rising, painting the sky orange and red. She thought about the soldiers who died 7 years ago, the ones who didn't make it out. Thought about Ramos, about whoever else was still out there, hunted. Behind her, the cabin door opened. Cross limped out, leaning on the doorframe. You're really going to do this, he said. Yeah, they'll come for us. I know. And we'll probably die. Anna looked at him. We died 7 years ago, Sam. Everything since then has been borrowed time. He smiled, tired, broken. Then let's make it count. They stood there together, watching the sunrise. Inside, Jensen called out, I'm in. Got access to a satellite uplink. We can go live in 90 minutes. Anna took a breath, felt the weight of what came next. Then she walked back inside. Graves was sitting at the table, writing something on paper, notes, talking points. Cross settled onto his cot, watching. Jensen set up a camera, positioned it near the window, natural light. You'll have maybe 10 minutes before they trace the signal and shut us down, she said. Make them count. Anna nodded. She thought about what to say, how to say it. The truth was complicated, messy, full of gaps and questions, but the core was simple. They'd been sent to die because they found something someone wanted buried. And now, 7 years later, they were still being hunted for it. Jensen looked up. We're live in 5. Anna positioned herself in front of the camera. 4, 3, 2. The red light came on. Anna looked directly into the lens, spoke clearly, calmly. My name is Lieutenant Commander Evelyn Kane. 7 years ago, I was declared killed in action along with 17 other soldiers during Operation Pale Horse in Afghanistan. But I didn't die. I survived. And what I'm about to tell you is why someone has spent 7 years trying to make sure I never spoke again. She paused. Let that sink in. Then continued. We were sent to recover evidence of illegal human experimentation being conducted on American soldiers. When we found it, our own military called in an airstrike on our position. 18 of us went into that valley. 7 came out. And now, one by one, we're being eliminated. Behind her, Cross appeared in frame. Sat down beside her. I'm Major Samuel Cross. And everything she just said is true. Jensen kept the camera rolling. Anna continued. The people behind this call themselves Odin. They operate in the shadows. They have reach into every level of government and military. And they will do everything in their power to silence us. She leaned forward. But we're not afraid anymore. We're done hiding. And we're going to expose every single person involved in this. The camera kept rolling. Anna told the story. The ambush, the evidence, the cover-up. Graves added details. Locations. Names of people involved. Cross corroborated, provided first-hand testimony. 10 minutes turned into 15. Jensen's screen started flashing. They've found us. Signals being jammed. Anna kept talking, spoke faster, got to the critical parts. The screen went black. The feed died. Jensen sat back. That's it. We're dark. Anna exhaled, felt the adrenaline drain. Did it go out? Jensen checked her laptop, pulled up social media, news sites. Her eyes widened. Yeah, it went out. She turned the screen. The video was everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, news aggregators. Exclusive: dead soldiers come forward with claims of military cover-up. Rogue general and alleged terrorists release. Shocking video statement, #PaleHorse. Trending nationwide comments were flooding in. Thousands, tens of thousands. Some calling them liars, some demanding investigations, some sharing the video, making it spread. Graves read over Jensen's shoulder. "We just lit a match. Question is," Anna said, "will it burn them or us?" Jensen's phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. She opened it. 5 words. "You just made the list shorter." Then a photo, a house. Suburban. Somewhere in the Midwest. People inside, a family, and across the image written in red, "TikTok." Jensen's hands shook. "That's my sister's house." Anna felt ice in her veins. "Where?" "Ohio, Columbus." "How fast can we get there?" 5 hours if we push it. Anna looked at Graves. "We need to go. Now." He was already moving, grabbing weapons, loading the van. Cross struggled to his feet. "I'm coming." "You can barely walk." "I don't care." They piled into the van. Jensen drove. Fast. Too fast. But not fast enough. Anna tried calling Jensen's sister. No answer. Tried again. Voicemail. "Maybe she's at work," Jensen said. Her voice was tight, scared. Or maybe they already got to her. "Don't say that. Sarah, don't." They drove in silence. Hours blurred together. Jensen's phone buzzed again. Another message. Another photo. The same house. Front door open. Caption, "Too late." Jensen screamed, swerved, nearly lost control. Anna grabbed the wheel. "Focus!" "They killed her. They killed my sister." "You don't know that." "They sent me a picture." "Which means they want you panicked. They want you making mistakes." Anna's voice was hard. "So don't give them what they want." Jensen's hands tightened on the wheel. She steadied, kept driving. They reached Columbus just before noon. The house was in a quiet neighborhood. Trees, lawns, kids' bikes, and driveways. Jensen parked 3 blocks away. They approached on foot, Graves and Anna armed, Cross limping behind, Jensen barely holding it together. The front door was open, just like the photo. Anna went in first. Low, weapon raised. The house was trashed, furniture overturned, pictures smashed, blood on the carpet. But no bodies. Jensen pushed past her. "Rachel! Rachel, where are you?" Silence. They cleared the house, room by room, empty. Anna found a phone on the kitchen counter, smashed, but the SIM card was intact. She pocketed it. In the living room, Graves found something else. A message, spray-painted on the wall. "Come alone or they die." Below it, an address. Industrial District, 30 miles south. Jensen stared at it. "It's a trap." "Obviously." "They want us to come." Anna nodded. "So we come." "And walk right into an ambush." "You have a better idea?" Jensen looked at her, looked at the message, at the blood on the floor. "No." They walked back to the van, drove south toward whatever was waiting. The industrial district south of Columbus looked like civilization had given up on it 20 years ago and never looked back. Abandoned factories, rusted fences, parking lots with weeds splitting through the asphalt. The kind of place where nobody called the cops because nobody was around to hear anything worth calling about. Jensen slowed the van as they approached the address sprayed on the wall. A sprawling warehouse complex off Route 33. 3 buildings, corrugated steel. Loading docks facing a gravel lot. 1 road in, 1 road out. Kill box. Anna knew at the moment she saw it. "Stop here," she said. Jensen pulled over behind a defunct gas station, half a mile from the complex. Cut the engine. Nobody moved. Through the windshield, Anna could see the warehouse roof lines against the gray sky. No vehicles visible. No movement. But that meant nothing. Anyone with training would be inside, waiting. Graves studied the terrain through a pair of binoculars Jensen had packed. 3 structures. Main warehouse on the left, 2 smaller buildings on the right. No exterior guards. "That we can see," Anna said. "Right." Cross leaned forward from the back, wincing. His color was bad. Grayish. The wound had stopped bleeding, but he needed real medical attention, not field dressings and willpower. They'll have overwatch, probably the roof of the main building. Clear sight lines across the whole approach. Jensen gripped the steering wheel. Her knuckles were white. My sister's in there. Maybe, Anna said. She's in there. And walking in blind gets her killed. Anna turned to face her. You taught me that, remember? Outside Kandahar. When Davis wanted to rush the compound. Jensen's jaw clenched. She remembered. Davis had rushed in. Davis had died in the doorway. So what do we do? Jensen asked. Anna looked at Graves. How many rounds do we have? He checked. 2 rifles, 4 magazines total. My sidearm, 60 rounds, give or take. Armor? 1 vest? Jensen's. Comms? Nothing encrypted. We'd be broadcasting in the clear. Anna processed it all. 4 people. 1 barely able to stand. Limited ammunition. No backup. No intelligence on enemy numbers or positions. Against an organization that had infiltrated the highest levels of government. I'm going in alone, she said. The van went quiet. Graves spoke first. No. They said come alone. It's a trap. Everything's a trap. That doesn't change the math. Anna met his eyes. You're the ranking officer. If I don't come back, you're the one who keeps the story alive. Cross is the corroborating witness. Jensen has the technical skills to find the transmission. You 3 are more important alive than I am. That's not how this works. That's exactly how this works. Anna opened the van door. Give me 30 minutes. If I'm not back, leave. Anna, 30 minutes. She took 1 rifle, 2 magazines, no vest, stepped out into the gravel. The air smelled like rust and rain. A cold wind pushed through the dead lots, carrying the sound of something metal creaking in the distance. She moved along the fence line, staying low, using the overgrowth for cover. The main warehouse was about 400 meters out. She covered the distance in 5 minutes, stopping every 30 seconds to listen. Nothing. Too quiet. She reached the east side of the main warehouse. A rusted door, padlocked from outside. She pulled the lock. Old. Brittle. It gave with 1 hard yank. The door groaned open. Inside was dark. Vast. The kind of industrial space that swallowed light and sound. Concrete floor, steel columns every 20 feet. Old machinery covered in tarps. Anna stepped in. Let her eyes adjust. Somewhere deep inside the building, a generator hummed. She moved along the wall, rifle up, scanning. Her breathing was controlled. Steady. The muscle memory of 1,000 entries in 100 buildings across 3 continents. But her hands were shaking, not from fear, from the adrenaline she was burning through too fast. She hadn't eaten in 18 hours, hadn't slept in over 30. Her body was running on fumes and anger and the sick certainty that this was going to go wrong. She heard it before she saw it. A voice. Muffled. Coming from somewhere below. Basement level. She found the stairs, metal. Industrial. Descending into a lit corridor. Anna went down, 1 step at a time, back pressed against the wall. The corridor was clean, too clean for an abandoned warehouse. Fresh paint on the walls. Fluorescent lights. Security cameras mounted at intervals. Someone had renovated down here. Recently. She passed a door, locked. Electronic keypad. She moved on. Another door, same lock, a third. Then she heard it again. The voice, clearer now. Not going to ask again. She pressed against the wall beside the door at the end of the corridor. The voice was coming from the other side. Male. Calm. The kind of calm that came from having absolute control over a situation. Mrs. Novak, your sister has made some very poor choices. We're offering you the opportunity to help her correct those choices. A woman's voice. Shaking. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything. That's unfortunate. Anna tested the door handle. Unlocked. She pushed it open. The room was maybe 20 by 20. Concrete walls. 1 table, 2 chairs. Overhead light. Rachel Novak, Jensen's sister, sat in one of the chairs. Mid-30s. Dark hair like Jensen's, but longer. Her hands were zip-tied to the chair arms. Her lip was split. 1 eye swollen shut. Standing over her was a man in a dark suit. No tie. Clean-shaven. Average height. Average build. The kind of face designed to be forgotten. Behind him, 2 men in tactical gear flanked the room. Armed, rifles at their sides. The man in the suit turned when the door opened. He didn't look surprised. "Commander Kane?" He smiled. "Right on schedule." Anna kept the rifle trained on him. "Step away from her." He didn't move. "You know, I expected you to bring your friends. The general, the medic, the wounded major hobbling along like a kicked dog." He tilted his head. "But here you are, alone, just like we asked. Who are you?" "That doesn't matter." "It does to me." He considered that. "You can call me Warren. Not my real name, but neither is Anna Mercer, so let's call it even." The two tactical operators shifted. Anna tracked them with her peripheral vision. Right side was closer. Left side had a clearer angle. "Let her go," Anna said. Warren glanced at Rachel. "Her? She's leverage. You understand leverage, Commander. You've used it yourself." "She's a civilian. She's a variable." Warren walked around the table, putting distance between himself and Rachel. "And variables need to be controlled." Anna adjusted her aim, kept it on Warren. "What do you want?" "The same thing you want. An end to this." He stopped walking. "You made a video. Very dramatic, very compelling. The internet is losing its mind. Hashtags, conspiracy theories, congressional inquiries being drafted as we speak." He paused. "But none of that matters if the evidence doesn't exist." "It exists." "The transmission? Pale Horse Protocol?" Warren shook his head. "That relay station in Virginia was scrubbed 12 hours after your little broadcast. Every backup, every redundancy, gone." Anna's stomach dropped, but she didn't let it show. "You're lying." "Am I?" Warren reached into his jacket. Anna's finger tightened on the trigger. He raised his hand slowly, pulled out a phone, showed her the screen. A message from a military network. "Relay Station 7 Alpha. Status decommissioned. All archives purged per Directive 9. Directive 9 is an emergency sanitization protocol," Warren said. "Activated by someone very high up. Someone who doesn't appreciate dead soldiers giving interviews." Anna felt the ground shifting under her. If the transmission was gone, they had nothing. Testimony without evidence was just storytelling. The video would be dismissed as propaganda. They'd be painted as terrorists, and the truth would die in a news cycle. Warren watched her face. There it is, that look, the one where you realize you're out of moves. "I've been out of moves before, and you've survived. Impressive. But survival isn't the same as winning." He stepped closer. "I'm going to make you an offer. One time. Take it or don't." Anna waited. "Walk away, all of you. We'll provide new identities, new locations, enough money to disappear comfortably. Mrs. Novak goes home, your friends live, you live." He spread his hands. "Everyone wins. Except the soldiers who died. They're already dead. Nothing you do changes that." "And the ones still being experimented on?" Warren's expression didn't flicker. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Right." Anna lowered the rifle slightly. "Not surrendering. Thinking." Warren misread it. "Smart. You always were the smart one. That's why you survived when—" "I didn't say yes." His smile faded. "I said I'm thinking." Anna looked at Rachel. The woman was trembling, watching them with her one good eye, terrified. "Let her go first. Then we talk." "That's not how—" "Let her go or I put a round through your left knee and we see how well you negotiate from the floor." Warren studied her, searching for the bluff. He didn't find one. He nodded to one of the operators. The man stepped forward, cut Rachel's zip ties. She scrambled out of the chair, staggered toward Anna. Anna caught her with one arm, kept the rifle steady with the other. "Go." Down the hall, up the stairs. "There's a van half a mile east." Rachel shook her head, tears streaming. "I can't. I don't know where." "Follow the fence line. You'll see it. Tell Jensen I sent you." Rachel hesitated. Then she ran. Footsteps echoing down the corridor, getting fainter. Anna refocused on Warren. "Now," he said. "Your answer." "No." Warren blinked. "No?" "No deal. No disappearing. No buyout." "Then you'll die here." "Maybe. But that video's already out there. And you can scrub every relay station on the planet, but you can't scrub the internet." "We can discredit it." "You can try." "But people saw my face. They heard my voice. They know my name. And right now, somewhere, some reporter or senator or whistleblower is pulling on the thread. Anna took a step forward. That's the thing about the truth. You can't kill it. You can only delay it. Warren's composure cracked. Just a fracture. A tightening around the eyes. You're making a mistake. I've made plenty. This isn't one of them. Warren raised his hand. The two operators brought their rifles up. Anna dropped. The first burst went over her head, shredding the concrete wall behind her. She rolled left, came up firing. 2 rounds. The operator on the right took both in the chest. His vest caught them, but the impact knocked him back into the wall. He slid down, gasping. The second operator fired. Bullets stitched across the floor, sparks flying. Anna dove behind the table, flipped it. Not great cover, but better than nothing. She heard Warren shouting, "Alive! I need her alive!" The operator adjusted, moved to flank her. Anna waited, counted his footsteps. 1, 2, 3. She rolled out from behind the table, fired low. Caught him in the shin below the armor. He screamed, dropped to one knee. She fired again, shoulder. He went down. Warren was running, toward the door. Anna lunged after him, caught his collar, yanked him back. He stumbled, hit the floor hard. She stood over him, rifle aimed at his face. "Who is Odin?" Warren laughed, blood on his teeth from where he'd bitten his tongue in the fall. "You think there's one person? One name? Odin is an idea, a system. You can't shoot an idea. Watch me. Kill me, and 10 others take my place. This is bigger than you, Kane. Bigger than your dead soldiers. Bigger than your little crusade. Names. I don't know names." Anna pressed the rifle barrel against his forehead. Last chance. Warren's eyes were wild now. The composure was gone. Underneath was something raw. Animal. Hartwell. Deputy Director Martin Hartwell. Defense Intelligence Agency. He runs the program. Has for 15 years. Anna filed the name. Who else? I don't know. Hartwell keeps everything compartmentalized. We get orders, we execute. We don't ask questions. Where's Hartwell now? DC. Where else? He practically lives in the Pentagon. Anna pulled the rifle back, reached down, grabbed Warren's phone from his pocket. She scrolled through it. Messages, contacts, order confirmations, gold, everything she needed. "You're dead," Warren said from the floor. "You know that, right? The moment you walk out of here, you're dead." Anna looked down at him. "I've been dead for 7 years. Didn't take." She turned and walked out. The corridor felt longer on the way back. Her hands were shaking worse now. The adrenaline crash was coming. She could feel it in her knees, her vision, the way her thoughts kept fragmenting. She made it up the stairs, through the warehouse, out the rusted door. The cold air hit her like a wall. She bent over, hands on her knees, and dry heaved. Nothing came up. Empty stomach. Then she straightened, moved, back along the fence line, back toward the gas station. The van was there, Graves standing outside, weapon raised. He lowered it when he saw her. "Rachel's here," he said. "Jensen's with her." Anna nodded. "We need to move." "What happened?" She held up Warren's phone. "I got a name." Inside the van, Jensen was holding her sister. Rachel was crying, face pressed into Jensen's shoulder. Jensen's eyes were red, but she wasn't crying. She was staring at Anna with something that looked like awe. "Did you?" Jensen started. "I'm fine. She's fine. We need to go." Anna climbed into the passenger seat, looked at Graves behind the wheel. "DC. What's in DC?" "Deputy Director Martin Hartwell, Defense Intelligence Agency. He's running Odin." Graves stared at her. That's a senior intelligence official. You can't just, "I can and I will." "We don't have the resources to go after someone at that level." Anna held up Warren's phone again. "We do now. Messages, orders, contact lists. This phone is a roadmap to every person involved." Jensen gently moved Rachel to a cot, covered her with a blanket, moved up to Anna. "Let me see it." Anna handed it over. Jensen started scrolling. Her eyes widened. "There's encrypted files, hundreds of them. Dates going back 8 years. She looked up. "This isn't just Pale Horse. There are other operations, other programs." "How many?" "I won't know until I decrypt them, but..." She scrolled further. "There are at least 6 project code names, different regions, different time periods." Graves started the van, Pulled out, headed east toward the highway. Cross spoke from the back, voice raspy. If Hartwell is running this from inside the Pentagon, he has access to everything. Intelligence feeds, surveillance networks, military assets. He coughed. Going after him in D.C. is walking into the most fortified city in the country. I know. He'll see us coming. Then we don't go to him. Anna thought for a moment. We make him come to us. Graves glanced at her. How? The phone. We use it. Send a message. Make Hartwell think Warren succeeded, that we're dead or captured. Jensen caught on. Buy time. Exactly. While Jensen decrypts the files, we set up somewhere close to D.C., close enough to strike. Strike how? I don't know yet, but I will. They drove east, through Ohio, into West Virginia, mountains rising around them, the roads getting narrower, emptier. Jensen worked on the phone in the back, cross-referencing encrypted files with data from her own laptop. Rachel slept. Cross drifted in and out. Around hour 3, Jensen made a noise, half gasp, half curse. Anna turned. What? Jensen's face had gone white. She turned the laptop around. On the screen was a document. Official letterhead, Department of Defense. Project Lazarus, Jensen read. Authorized under Executive Directive 441. Purpose? Development and field testing of next-generation performance enhancement compounds for combat personnel. She scrolled down. Test subjects? Active-duty military personnel. Method? Covert administration via standard medical treatment during deployment. Anna felt sick. They were drugging soldiers. Not just drugging them, modifying them. Gene therapy, neurochemical alterations, permanent changes. Jensen's voice shook. Some of the side effects listed here, psychosis, organ failure, uncontrolled aggression. She looked up. This is what they were testing in Kandahar, on your unit. On us, Anna said quietly. The van was silent. Cross spoke. That's why I can't sleep. Why the pain never fully goes away. Why I hear things sometimes. He stopped, swallowed. They did something to me. To all of us, Anna said. Jensen scrolled further. There's a list. Test subjects. Categorized by outcome. She read in fragments. Successful integration. Partial integration. Adverse reaction. Terminated. Terminated, Graves repeated. Killed, Jensen translated. Subjects who had adverse reactions were eliminated, made to look like combat casualties, suicides, accidents. Anna's fists clenched. How many? Jensen counted. Over 200 names across 6 programs. 200 soldiers, used as lab rats, killed when the experiment failed. Graves pulled the van over, sat there, hands on the wheel, not moving. General, Anna said. I served 30 years. His voice was barely audible. 30 years believing in this institution, believing we were the good guys. He looked at Anna. 200 people. I know. Children. Some of them were 20 years old. I know. He took a breath. Then another. Put the van in gear. Kept driving. They crossed into Virginia as the sun was setting. Jensen found a motel off I-64, paid cash, got 2 rooms. Nothing fancy, nothing traceable. Anna carried Cross inside, laid him on a bed, changed his bandages. The wound was inflamed. Red streaks radiating from the edges, infection setting in. He needs antibiotics, Anna said. Real ones. IV grade. Jensen was already thinking. There's a veterinary supply store 15 miles west. Large animal antibiotics. Same compounds, different packaging. Go! Jensen left with the van. Graves stood watch outside. Rachel slept in the other room. Cross was conscious, feverish, but lucid. 200, he said. Anna wrung out a washcloth, pressed it to his forehead. Yeah. We were just numbers on a spreadsheet. Not anymore. How do you keep going? He looked at her, eyes glassy. Seriously. 7 years of hiding, running, lying about who you are every single day. How? Anna didn't have a good answer. She thought about it. Thought about the nights in her apartment in Ashford, the silence, the way she'd stare at the ceiling and try to remember what it felt like to be Evelyn Kane instead of Anna Mercer. Because someone has to, she finally said, and I was the one left standing. That's not an answer. It's the only one I've got. Cross closed his eyes. His breathing evened out. Anna sat beside him. Let herself be still for the first time in days. Her body ached, every joint, every muscle. She had a cut above her left eye from the warehouse that she hadn't noticed until now. Her ribs were bruised from the firefight at the facility. Her hands were raw and cracked. She wasn't invincible, wasn't superhuman. She was a 38-year-old woman running on caffeine and spite, and the cracks were showing, but stopping wasn't an option. Not yet. Jensen returned an hour later, amoxicillin, cephalexin, needles, IV tubing. Best I could do, she said. They set up an IV for Cross, administered the antibiotics, changed his dressings again. The wound looked worse, but the medication would take time. Then Jensen sat down with her laptop and got to work. 3 hours of silence, keyboard clicking, occasional muttering. Once she slammed the table and cursed. At midnight, she looked up. I found it. Anna straightened. The transmission? No, better. Jensen turned the laptop. Hartwell's personal correspondence, encrypted, but the phone had the key. On the screen was a chain of emails, internal, between Hartwell and 4 other names Anna didn't recognize. Jensen pointed at the screen. This one, 6 months ago. Subject line, asset containment, pale horse. She opened it. Hartwell writes, all surviving assets from PH must be contained or eliminated before the Senate Oversight Review in March. If any testimony reaches the committee, exposure is inevitable. Anna read it again. He knew. He knew we were alive. All of us. Look. Jensen scrolled down. There's an attachment, a list, 7 names. Cross, Ramos, me, you. She paused. 3 others. Who? Jensen read the names. Sergeant Dwayne Mitchell, Specialist Karen Wolfe, Private First Class Tomas Reyes. Anna closed her eyes. Mitchell, Wolfe, Reyes, faces she hadn't thought about in years. Are they alive? Jensen cross-referenced, typing fast. Mitchell, listed as deceased, car accident in Tucson, 8 months ago. Anna's stomach turned. Accident. Right, Jensen kept going. Wolfe, no death record. Last known address, Boise, Idaho, but the address is flagged in Hartwell's system. Flagged how? Pending resolution. The words hung in the air. They haven't gotten to her yet, Anna said, or they're about to. Anna stood. Where's Boise from here? 36 hours by road. Too far. Anna paced. Can you reach her? Phone? Email? If she's smart, she's off the grid. No phone, no email, nothing traceable. Then how do we warn her, Jensen thought. I might be able to ping her through the military's internal VA system. If she's still receiving benefits under a cover identity, there'll be a contact mechanism. Do it, Jensen started typing again. Anna turned to Graves, who'd come inside. We've got another survivor, possibly about to be targeted. Where? Idaho. Graves rubbed his eyes. We can't be in 2 places at once. I know. That's why we need help. Anna looked at him. You said there are still people who care about the truth. Who? Graves thought. Senator Margaret Callahan, chair of the Armed Services Committee. She's been pushing for military oversight reform for years. If anyone would listen, can you reach her? I have a contact in her office. Old friend, someone I trust. Make the call. Graves hesitated. If I call, they'll trace it. Use a payphone. Keep it under 90 seconds. He nodded. Left. Anna turned back to Jensen. What about Reyes, the 3rd survivor? Jensen's face had changed. Something in it that Anna hadn't seen before. What? Jensen turned the laptop slowly. On the screen was a personnel file. Private First Class Tomas Reyes. Age at time of deployment 19. And underneath a single notation. Subject integrated. Asset retained. What does asset retained mean? Jensen's voice was flat. It means they didn't kill him. They kept him. The implication settled over the room like smoke. Anna felt her blood go cold. He's working for them. Or he's being held, used, controlled. Jensen pulled up more data. If the program involved neurochemical modification, Loyalty conditioning wouldn't be far behind. They turned a 19-year-old kid into a weapon. Or a puppet, same difference. Anna sat down, rubbed her face, tried to think. Everything was spiraling. Every new piece of information made the picture bigger, uglier, more impossible to contain. She needed to focus, prioritize. Okay, she said. 3 objectives. 1. Warn Wolf. 2. Contact Senator Callahan. 3. Get the Hartwell emails to someone who can act on them. And Reyes? Anna paused. We deal with Reyes when we know more. Jensen nodded. I'll keep decrypting. There's more in these files. A lot more. Anna moved to the window, pulled the curtain back an inch. The parking lot was empty. Highway beyond. Trucks rolling past. Normal world. Going on like nothing was happening. She thought about Grantham Memorial, about the nurses' station, the medication charts, the way Calloway had called her interchangeable. She thought about Diane Holt, the patient whose life she'd saved, the reprimand that followed. She'd spent 3 years being nobody, being invisible. Now she was on every news channel, every wanted list, every intelligence brief, the quiet nurse from the East Wing. She let the curtain fall. 2 hours later, Graves returned. His face was grim. Made the call. Senator Callahan's office. Spoke to my contact. And? They're interested. The video got their attention. The committee's been receiving pressure from the media. Callahan wants evidence. Physical evidence. The emails? Can't be verified from a stolen phone. They need something they can authenticate independently. Official documents, server records, testimony under oath. Anna's jaw tightened. We have testimony. Cross. Me. Jensen. You're wanted fugitives. Your credibility is compromised. Then what do they need? Graves met her eyes. Someone from inside. Someone currently active in the program who's willing to turn. The room went quiet. Jensen looked up from her laptop. Reyes. Anna shook her head. We don't even know if he's the only active asset we know about. If he's still in the system, he has access. If we can get to him, turn him, he can provide authenticated evidence from inside. Or he kills us on sight. Possible. But if the alternative is running forever... Anna thought about it. The risk was massive. Reyes could be fully compromised, brainwashed, weaponized. Walking into his orbit could mean walking into a bullet. But Jensen was right. They needed an insider. Where is he? Anna asked. Jensen searched. Last known assignment, Fort Braxton, Virginia. That's 3 hours from here. Anna looked at Graves. Cross was asleep. Rachel was in the other room. Jensen was watching her with that steady, unblinking gaze that meant she'd already made up her mind. We go to Fort Braxton, Anna said. We find Reyes. We try to bring him in. Graves shook his head slowly. A military base, where we're wanted fugitives, with a half-dead major and a civilian in tow. You stay here with Cross and Rachel. Jensen and I go. 2 women walking onto a military installation where facial recognition is probably already flagged with your photos. Then we don't walk in the front door. Jensen closed her laptop. I know Fort Braxton. I was stationed there for 6 months before Pale Horse. There's a section of the perimeter near the motor pool where the fence runs through a drainage culvert. Security cameras cover the main approaches, but the drainage area floods during rain. They stopped monitoring it years ago. Is it raining? Jensen checked her phone. Forecast says thunderstorms starting at 0400. Anna looked at the clock. 11 p.m. 5 hours. Then we leave at 3. Jensen nodded, started packing gear. Graves pulled Anna aside, spoke quietly. If this goes wrong, then you take the files and go to Callahan directly. Skip the evidence threshold. Make enough noise that they can't ignore it. And you? Anna didn't answer that. She spent the next 3 hours preparing, cleaned the rifle, checked magazine, studied the facility layout Jensen had drawn from memory on a piece of motel stationery. At 2 a.m., Cross woke up. The fever was lower. The antibiotics were working. You're leaving, he said. Not a question. For a few hours. Where? Fort Braxton. We have a lead on another survivor. Cross processed that. Reyes? Yeah. He was just a kid. He's not anymore. Cross tried to sit up. Let me. Oh, no. Anna pushed him gently back down. Stay. Rest. Guard Rachel. With what? I can barely lift my arms. Then use your words. You always were good at talking people out of stupid decisions. He almost smiled. Not talking you out of this one. No, you're not. She left him there. At 3 a.m., Anna and Jensen climbed into the van. Graves handed Anna a sidearm through the window. 30 minutes, he said. Then I'm coming after you. Give us 2 hours. 1. 90 minutes. He didn't agree. Just stepped back. Jensen drove. They reached Fort Braxton at 4:15. The thunderstorm was already building, lightning on the horizon, wind picking up. Jensen parked the van in a wooded area half a mile from the eastern perimeter. They covered the remaining distance on foot, moving through dense brush in near total darkness. The drainage culvert was exactly where Jensen said it would be. A concrete channel running under the fence, maybe 4 feet in diameter. Water was already flowing, ankle deep and rising. They went through on hands and knees. The water was freezing. Anna's boots filled instantly. Her knees scraped against concrete. Something alive brushed past her in the dark. Rat, probably. And she bit down hard on the inside of her cheek to keep from making noise. They emerged on the other side, inside the base. The motor pool was 50 meters ahead. Rows of Humvees and transport trucks. Maintenance bays. A single guard walking the perimeter with a flashlight. They waited for him to pass, then moved. Jensen led the way. Through the motor pool, between buildings, across a darkened parade ground. The rain started, light at first, then heavy. Good. Rain-covered noise, blurred cameras, kept people indoors. Jensen stopped at a barracks building. 2 stories. Brick. Reyes was assigned to D Company. If he's still here, he'll be in this building. Which room? Don't know, but D Company rosters are posted in the orderly room, first floor, end of the hall. They slipped in through a side door. The hallway was dim, emergency lighting only, everyone asleep. The orderly room was unlocked. Jensen found the roster pinned to a corkboard. Reyes, T, room 214. Second floor. They took the stairs. Room 214. Closed door. Anna put her hand on the knob, turned it slowly. The door opened. Inside was a standard barracks room. Single bed, desk, footlocker. A window rattling with rain. A man sat on the edge of the bed. Awake, dressed, like he'd been expecting them. He was young, mid-20s now, but the face still carried traces of the kid he'd been. Dark eyes, lean, a scar running from his left ear to his jawline. He was holding a pistol, aimed at the door, at them. Anna raised her hand slowly. Reyes. He didn't respond. His eyes moved from Anna to Jensen and back. You know who we are, Anna said quietly. I know who you were. His voice was hollow, empty. You're supposed to be dead. So are you. His grip on the pistol didn't waver. They told me you'd come. Told me what to do when you did. Anna felt the cold wash through her. And what was that? Reyes stared at her. His hand was shaking. The gun trembled. Kill you. Jensen took a half step forward. Anna stopped her with a hand. But you haven't pulled the trigger, Anna said. Reyes blinked. Something cracked behind his eyes. The emptiness wavered. They put things in my head, he said. His voice broke. I don't know what's real anymore. I don't know if you're real. I'm real, Tomas. They said that too. In the simulations, same words, same face. Anna lowered her hands, slowly, took a step forward. Reyes raised the gun higher. Don't. I'm not going to hurt you. You can't promise that. No, I can't. She took another step. But I can tell you this. Whatever they did to you, whatever they put in your head, it doesn't own you. You're still in there. The kid who volunteered at 19 because he wanted to make a difference. He's still in there. Reyes's eyes glistened. The gun shook harder. I've done things, he whispered. They made me do things. I know. You don't. You can't. Then tell me. When we get out of here, tell me everything. Anna was close now, close enough to touch the barrel. But right now, I need you to put the gun down. Because the people who did this to you are the same people who killed your friends, and we can stop them, together. Reyes stared at her. The gun wavered, lowered, dropped to the bed. He collapsed forward, head in his hands, shoulders heaving with silent sobs. Jensen moved in, grabbed the pistol, cleared it. Anna knelt in front of Reyes, put a hand on his shoulder. We need to leave. Now. Can you walk? He nodded without looking up. Then let's go. They moved fast. Back down the stairs, through the hallway, out the side door. The rain was torrential now, visibility maybe 20 feet. They crossed the parade ground at a dead run, Reyes between them, stumbling but keeping pace. They were halfway to the motor pool when the floodlights came on. Every light on the base. At once. Sirens wailed. A voice boomed over to the PA system. Attention all personnel. Security breach. Lockdown in effect. All personnel report to stations immediately. Anna grabbed Reyes' arm. Run! They sprinted. Through the motor pool, past the maintenance bays, toward the culvert. Behind them voices, dogs barking, engines starting. The culvert was ahead. Water was higher now, knee-deep. Jensen went in first, disappeared into the dark. Anna pushed Reyes in. He hesitated at the edge. I can't. You can. Move. He went in. Anna followed. The water hit her chest. The current was strong. She braced against the walls, pushed forward. Ahead she could hear Jensen and Reyes fighting through the flow. Behind her, flashlight beams swept the area. A voice shouted, There! The drainage channel! Gunfire. Bullets pinged off the concrete around the culvert entrance. Fragments hit Anna's arm. She felt the sting, kept moving. They burst out the other side. Into the woods, soaking wet, gasping. Jensen was already at the van, engine running, door open. Reyes stumbled in. Anna dove in after him. Jensen hit the gas. The van fishtailed on the wet road, straightened, accelerated. Behind them, headlights appeared. 2 vehicles. Military police. Jensen drove like she was born behind the wheel, taking turns too fast, cutting through parking lots, jumping a median. One of the pursuit vehicles spun out on a wet curve. The other kept coming. Anna leaned out the side window, fired 3 rounds at the remaining vehicle's tires. 2 missed. The third blew the front left. The vehicle swerved, hit a guardrail, stopped. Jensen kept driving. 10 minutes later, they were on a county road. No pursuit, no sirens, just rain and darkness. Anna slumped back in her seat, looked at Reyes. He was curled in the corner, arms wrapped around himself, rocking slightly. She reached over, touched his arm. He flinched, then looked at her. You're okay, she said. He didn't believe her. She could see that. But he nodded anyway. They drove back to the motel. Graves was outside, armed, waiting. He lowered his weapon when he saw them, looked at Reyes. Is that? Private First Class Tomas Reyes, Anna said. Formerly deceased, currently scared out of his mind. They went inside. Cross was awake, propped up in bed. He stared at Reyes for a long time. Kid, he finally said. Reyes looked at him. Recognition flooded his face. Major Cross? Yeah. Reyes' legs buckled. He sat on the floor, just sat there. Cross looked at Anna. What happened to him? Everything, she said. Everything happened to him. Jensen was already at her laptop, working on the phone, the files. Anna moved to the window, checked the parking lot, and froze. A car she hadn't seen before was parked across the lot. Black sedan, government plates. The driver's door opened. A woman stepped out. Gray suit, short hair, briefcase. She walked straight toward their room, knocked twice. Anna raised her weapon, moved to the door. Who's there? A voice. Calm. Authoritative. My name is Senator Margaret Callahan. General Graves called my office, and I want to hear everything. Anna looked at Graves. He shook his head slowly. I told them where to find us, but I didn't tell them to come. Anna looked back at the door. Through the peephole, she could see the woman standing alone. No security detail, no backup, or none that she could see. Anna gripped the door handle, opened it, and standing behind Senator Callahan, 10 feet back, half hidden in the shadow of the sedan, was a man in a military uniform, a face Anna recognized from the decrypted files. Deputy Director Martin Hartwell. He smiled. Good evening, Commander Kane. Anna's hand moved to her sidearm before the thought fully formed. Hartwell raised both palms. Slow, deliberate. The gesture of a man who'd talked his way out of worse situations than a motel parking lot in rural Virginia. I wouldn't, he said. Not in front of a United States senator. Callahan turned, saw Hartwell, and her face changed. Not surprise. Something colder. She looked back at Anna. I didn't bring him. Then how? He followed me. Callahan's voice was clipped, furious. Which means my office is compromised. Hartwell stepped forward. He was smaller than Anna expected. Average height, thin build, wire-rimmed glasses. The kind of man who disappeared in a crowded room. But his eyes were steady, calculating, and when he spoke, there was a weight behind every word that made people listen, whether they wanted to or not. Senator, you should leave, he said. These people are wanted fugitives. Being here makes you an accessory. Being here makes me a witness, and I'm not going anywhere. Hartwell's smile flickered, barely. Suit yourself. Graves appeared in the doorway behind Anna. His weapon was up. Hartwell. Nathan, you look tired. Step back from the senator. I'm not armed. I don't care. Hartwell sighed, took 2 steps back, leaned against the sedan, casual, like he was waiting for a valet. Anna's mind was running calculations. Hartwell was here, alone apparently. No tactical team, no backup visible. Which meant one of 2 things. Either he was incredibly confident, or he'd already set something in motion that made backup unnecessary. Neither option was good. Why are you here? Anna asked. Hartwell adjusted his glasses. Same reason she is, to talk. You don't talk. You order airstrikes. That's reductive. He looked past Anna into the motel room. His gaze found Reyes huddled on the floor. Something shifted in his expression. Not guilt. Recognition. Ah, you found Tomas. I wondered when that would happen. Reyes shrank back. Anna stepped sideways, blocking Hartwell's line of sight. You don't get to look at him. Hartwell returned his attention to her. Commander Kane, I'm going to tell you something, and I'd appreciate it if you listened before you decided to shoot me. I'm listening? You've won. The words hung in the wet air. Rain dripped off the motel awning. Somewhere on the highway, a truck horn blared. The video you broadcast has been viewed 47 million times. The Senate Intelligence Committee has opened an emergency inquiry. 3 news outlets have independently verified elements of your story using public records. The Secretary of Defense has called for a full investigation. Hartwell paused. My name hasn't surfaced yet, but it will. Within days, probably hours. Anna didn't lower her weapon. So why are you here instead of running? Because running requires options, and I've run out of those. He folded his arms. The network you call Odin is collapsing. The moment your video went live, people started covering their tracks, shredding documents, wiping servers, turning on each other. His mouth twisted. Loyalty is a thin commodity when prison becomes a possibility. Callahan spoke. If you're here to negotiate immunity, I'm here to offer testimony. Hartwell's voice hardened. Full testimony. Every name, every operation, every dollar spent, and every life taken, in exchange for federal protection. The motel room went silent. Anna studied him, looking for the angle, the trap, because men like Hartwell always had one. You killed 200 soldiers, she said. I oversaw a program that resulted in casualties. Yes, casualties. The word tasted like poison. You drugged them, modified them, killed the ones who didn't cooperate. I followed directives from people above me. And who were they? That's what my testimony would cover. Graves moved beside Anna, spoke low. He's offering us the chain of command. He's offering us a deal to save his own skin. Maybe. But if he's telling the truth about Odin collapsing, his testimony could bring down the entire structure, not just middle management, the people at the top. Anna looked at Callahan. Senator? Callahan's expression was granite. I can arrange protective custody and a formal deposition, but immunity isn't my call. That's the Attorney General. I'll take my chances, Hartwell said. Anna still hadn't lowered her weapon. What about Wolf? Specialist Karen Wolf, your files had her flagged for termination. Hartwell blinked. Wolf is alive? Answer the question. I issued a containment order 6 weeks ago. A team was dispatched to Boise. He paused. I can call them off. Do it. Now. Hartwell pulled out his phone. Anna watched every movement. He dialed, waited. It's Hartwell. Stand down on the Boise operation. Effective immediately. A pause. I don't care. Pull the team. Another pause. Because I said so. He hung up, looked at Anna. Done. If she's hurt, she won't be. Anna wanted to pull the trigger, wanted it more than she'd wanted anything in 7 years. This man had signed the order that killed her unit, had turned Reyes into something broken, had hunted her across the country, and now he was standing in a parking lot offering to help. She lowered the weapon. Graves exhaled. Get inside, Anna said, before someone sees you. They moved into the motel room. It was cramped now. 7 people in a space designed for 2. Cross on the bed, Rachel in the corner, Reyes on the floor, Jensen at her laptop, Graves by the window, Callahan near the door, and Hartwell standing in the middle, surrounded by the wreckage of his own creation. Callahan set her briefcase on the table, pulled out a legal pad, a recorder. I want everything on record from the beginning. Hartwell sat down, folded his hands. Project Lazarus was initiated 14 years ago under a classified defense directive. The stated objective was to develop chemical and biological enhancements for combat personnel, faster reflexes, higher pain thresholds, reduced need for sleep. Who authorized it? The initial directive came from the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, signed off by then Deputy Secretary Raymond Alcott. Callahan wrote the name. Continue. Early testing was conducted on volunteers at Fort Braxton. Controlled environment, informed consent. The results were promising but inconsistent. Some subjects showed remarkable improvement. Others experienced severe neurological side effects. Define severe: psychosis, seizures. In 3 cases, fatal cerebral hemorrhage. Hartwell's voice was flat, clinical. The program should have been suspended. Instead, it was expanded. Why? Because the people above me saw potential. Military applications, intelligence applications. The ability to create soldiers who didn't feel pain, didn't need rest, didn't hesitate. He paused. The perfect weapon. Cross spoke from the bed. We weren't weapons. We were people. Hartwell looked at him. For the first time, something cracked in his composure. I know. Do you? No answer. Jensen cut in. The files on Warren's phone referenced 6 separate operations. Pale Horse was one. What were the others? Hartwell listed them. Names, dates, locations. Each one a different theater, a different set of soldiers used as test subjects. Some domestic, some overseas. All classified, all buried. Callahan's pen moved faster. How many total subjects across all programs? 312. How many survived? Hartwell was quiet for a moment. Fewer than 40. The number landed like a physical blow. Rachel covered her mouth. Jensen stopped typing. Anna felt something break inside her. Not dramatically, not visibly, just a small, quiet fracture in the place where she kept her composure stored. 312 people. Soldiers. Kids. Some of them. Used, discarded, erased. She thought about Ramos, about Mitchell, about every name on those lists. Then she sealed the fracture and kept going, because that's what she'd been doing for 7 years. The Senate inquiry, Anna said. When does it start? Callahan checked her phone. Emergency session, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., Capitol Hill. We need to be there. You're wanted fugitives. We're witnesses. You're both. Callahan looked at Graves. General, can you guarantee their safety? I can guarantee they'll show up. After that, it's your jurisdiction. Callahan considered. I can arrange temporary immunity for testimony. It won't last, but it'll get you in the door. Do it! Jensen's laptop chimed. She looked at the screen. Her eyes widened. What? Anna asked. Jensen turned the laptop around. The transmission. From the relay station. I said it was scrubbed. It was. Not completely. Jensen's voice trembled. There's a backup. An automated archive that routes through a NATO relay in Germany. They didn't know about it. Nobody did. She pointed at the screen. The Pale Horse Protocol transmission. Complete, audio, metadata, everything. Anna stared at it. Can you authenticate it? Already done. Digital signatures match, timestamp matches. Origin point confirmed as a U.S. military command channel. Jensen looked at Hartwell. And the voice on the transmission? Care to tell us whose it is? Hartwell's face went gray. Where did you find that? Doesn't matter. Whose voice? He closed his eyes. Raymond Alcott, the former Deputy Secretary of Defense. Callahan set down her pen. You're telling me that a former Deputy Secretary of Defense personally ordered an airstrike on American soldiers to cover up an illegal weapons program? Yes. And you can testify to that under oath? Yes. Callahan picked up her phone. Dialed. This is Senator Callahan. I need an emergency meeting with the Attorney General. Tonight. Yes, tonight. She walked outside. Anna looked at Hartwell. One more question. Go ahead. The soldiers who survived, the ones you couldn't find, the ones who disappeared. Anna leaned forward. Did you ever stop looking? Hartwell met her eyes. No. Why? Because you were loose ends, and loose ends unravel everything. And now? He glanced around the room, at Cross, at Jensen, at Reyes still curled on the floor, at Graves by the window. Now I'm the loose end. The next 12 hours moved in a blur. Callahan arranged transport. 2 unmarked federal vehicles. Armed escorts from the U.S. Marshals Service, agents she'd handpicked personally, outside any chain Hartwell could have compromised. They drove through the night. Anna rode in the lead vehicle with Graves and Callahan. Jensen, Cross, Reyes, and Rachel followed in the second. Hartwell was placed in a separate vehicle, marshals only. No contact with the others. They arrived in D.C. before dawn. Callahan had secured a safe house in Georgetown. Brick townhouse, quiet street, marshals at every entrance. Anna showered for the first time in 3 days. Changed into civilian clothes Callahan's staff had provided. Dark slacks, white blouse. Nothing fancy, but clean. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror. Really looked. The cut above her eye had scabbed over. Her cheekbones were sharper than she remembered, dark circles under her eyes. She didn't look like a commander. Didn't look like a nurse either. She looked like someone who'd been running for a very long time and was almost out of road. At 8 a.m., the motorcade left for Capitol Hill. The hearing was held in a closed session, room 216 of the Hart Senate office building. Armed guards at the doors, no press, no cameras. But inside, the room was packed. 20 senators, staff members, legal counsel, military advisors. And at the witness table, facing them all, Anna, Cross, Jensen, and Hartwell. Callahan chaired the session. She didn't waste time. This committee has convened an emergency hearing to examine allegations of illegal human experimentation conducted under classified defense programs. We will hear testimony from 4 witnesses. I remind all present that the contents of this hearing are classified until further notice. She looked at Anna. Commander Kane, please state your name and rank for the record. Anna leaned toward the microphone. Her hands were steady now. Lieutenant Commander Evelyn Kane, United States Military, declared killed in action September 19th, 7 years ago. Operation Pale Horse. And you are alive? I am. Tell us what happened. Anna told them. Everything. From the compound in Kandahar to the convoy, the airstrike, the cover-up, 7 years of hiding, the hospital, Cross, the explosions, the hunt. She spoke for 45 minutes without stopping, without notes, without hesitation. When she finished, the room was silent. Cross testified next, corroborated everything, added details Anna hadn't known, about the aftermath, the roundup of survivors, the disappearances. Jensen presented the technical evidence. The decrypted files, the NATO relay transmission, the audio of Alcott's voice ordering the Pale Horse Protocol. She played it through the room's speakers. A man's voice, distorted by encryption but recognizable. Execute Pale Horse Protocol. No survivors. Confirm when complete. Several senators visibly recoiled. One left the room, didn't come back. Then Hartwell took the stand. He spoke for 2 hours, named names, provided dates, described the organizational structure of Odin in detail that made even the Intelligence Committee veterans go pale. At the end of his testimony, Callahan asked one question. Deputy Director Hartwell, In your professional judgment, how many people within the current government are aware of these programs? Hartwell looked at her. At least 37 individuals across 4 agencies. I can provide a complete list. Please do. He did. The hearing adjourned at 4 p.m. Callahan called a recess, stepped outside. Anna followed. They stood in the marble hallway. Staff members rushing past. The machinery of government grinding forward, oblivious. What happens now? Anna asked. Callahan's face was drawn, exhausted, but her eyes were sharp. Arrest warrants, starting tonight. DOJ is coordinating with military police. Alcott will be taken into custody within the hour. And the others? The list Hartwell provided goes to the FBI and the Inspector General simultaneously. No single agency controls the process. No one can shut it down. Can they try? Callahan looked at her. They'll try. But there are too many eyes on this now. The video, the hearing, the evidence. It's too big to contain. Anna nodded. Felt something loosen in her chest. Not relief. Not yet. But something close. Commander Kane, Callahan said. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. For what was done to you. For what this country allowed to happen. Anna didn't know what to say to that, so she said nothing. She walked back to the hearing room, sat down beside Cross. He looked at her. We did it? The hard part. What's the easy part? She almost laughed. I'll let you know when I find it. Jensen was on her laptop, still working, always working. She looked up suddenly. Anna? Something in her voice. What? Jensen turned the screen. A news feed, live broadcast. Former Deputy Secretary of Defense Raymond Alcott being led out of his home in handcuffs. Cameras flashing, reporters shouting questions, his face blank, shell-shocked. Below the footage, the ticker read, Breaking. Senior defense official arrested in connection with illegal military programs. Multiple additional arrests expected. Anna watched, let it wash over her. Then Jensen scrolled down. Another arrest. A colonel at Fort Braxton. Then a program director at a defense contractor. Then a CIA liaison, one by one, like dominoes. Graves appeared beside her, watched the screen. It's happening. Yeah. How do you feel? Anna thought about it. Thought about the nurses' station at Grantham Memorial, the medication charts, the quiet of the East Wing, the way they'd made her feel small, expendable, invisible. Then she thought about the soldiers, the ones who didn't survive, the ones no one ever knew about. Ask me tomorrow, she said. The arrests continued through the night, 23 in the first wave, 14 more by morning. The names on Hartwell's list were being crossed off, one by one. But at 6 a.m., Jensen woke Anna from a dead sleep on a couch in the safe house. We have a problem. Anna sat up, instant alert. What? Jensen held out her laptop. A secure message had arrived through a channel she'd set up during the hearing. Encrypted, anonymous. 5 words. Alcott didn't give the final order. Below that, an attachment. A single file. Jensen opened it. It was a photograph, taken inside the Pentagon. A conference room. Date stamped 2 days before the Kandahar ambush. 7 people around a table. Alcott was there. Hartwell was there. And at the head of the table, in a seat Anna recognized from 100 press conferences and official portraits, sat a face that made her blood stop moving through her veins. Jensen whispered the name. Anna couldn't speak. Because the person at the head of that table, the person who had authorized the murder of 300 soldiers and buried it for over a decade, wasn't a deputy secretary or a program director or a shadow operative. It was someone no arrest warrant could touch. Someone currently sitting in the most protected building in the country. And Anna realized the war wasn't over. It had just reached the last door. Anna stared at the photograph until her vision blurred. Secretary of Defense Leonard Price. Not a shadow, not a middleman, the man who sat in cabinet meetings, who testified before Congress with rehearsed sincerity, who shook hands with grieving families at Arlington and told them their sons and daughters had died with honor. He'd signed the order that killed them. Jensen was watching her. What do we do? Anna set the laptop down, stood, walked to the window. Dawn light was breaking over Georgetown, painting the rooftops gold and copper. Joggers on the sidewalk, a woman walking a dog. Normal life, grinding forward. We finish it, she said. Graves was in the kitchen, pouring coffee. Anna showed him the photo. He set the mug down slowly. Didn't pick it up again. Price, he said. Just the name, like tasting something rotten. Hartwell didn't name him. Either he was protecting Price or he was afraid of him. Probably both. Anna called Callahan. 6:15 in the morning. The senator answered on the second ring. She hadn't slept either. I'm sending you a file, Anna said. You need to see it before the committee reconvenes. Callahan saw it, called back in 4 minutes. This changes everything. If Price is involved, we can't go through normal DOJ channels. He has oversight authority over half the people who would investigate him. Then go around him. That's not how... Senator, in 12 hours, he'll know we have this photo. In 24, the evidence will be gone and will be discredited or dead. There is no time for process. Silence on the line. What are you proposing? Callahan asked. Open session, public, cameras, broadcast live. Put the photo on record where he can't erase it. Subpoena him before he has time to lawyer up. A sitting Secretary of Defense subpoenaed on live television. Yes. Callahan exhaled. I'll need the full committee's support. Then get it. 2 hours later, Callahan called back. 9 votes to 6. Emergency open session. Noon today. Anna closed her eyes, felt the exhaustion all the way down to her bones. Then she opened them and started getting ready. The hearing room was different this time. Doors open, press packed into every available seat, cameras from 12 networks pointed at the witness table. The gallery was standing room only. Anna sat between Cross and Jensen. Reyes was behind them, flanked by marshals. Graves stood near the wall in full uniform. Hartwell was absent, transferred to federal custody overnight. The noise was enormous. Reporters shouting questions, staff members scrambling, senators filing in with expressions that ranged from grim determination to barely concealed panic. Then Callahan gavelled the room to silence. This committee reconvenes in open session to hear additional testimony related to the matters discussed yesterday. Due to the nature of the evidence, the committee has issued a subpoena for Secretary of Defense Leonard Price to appear before us today. The room erupted. Callahan gavelled again. Order. A door at the side of the room opened. Price walked in. He was tall, silver-haired, the kind of jawline that photographers loved. He wore a navy suit, flag pin on the lapel, and he moved with the measured confidence of a man who had spent 30 years in rooms like this and never once been the one under the lights. Until now. He took his seat at the witness table, across from Anna. Their eyes met. Anna saw recognition, and underneath it, something she'd seen before on the faces of cornered animals. Calculation. Callahan began. Secretary Price, you are here pursuant to a subpoena issued by this committee. You have the right to counsel. I've waived counsel, Price said. His voice was smooth, controlled. I have nothing to hide. Then let's proceed. Callahan held up a printed copy of the photograph. Secretary Price, do you recognize this image? Price glanced at it. It appears to be a photograph of a meeting. A meeting you attended 2 days before Operation Pale Horse. I attend many meetings. This one authorized the deployment of 18 soldiers into an ambush and the subsequent airstrike that was intended to kill every one of them. Do you deny your involvement? Price leaned forward. Senator, I categorically deny any involvement in illegal activity. This photograph, wherever it came from, proves nothing. People sit in conference rooms. That's what government looks like. Callahan nodded, turned to Jensen. Ms. Jensen? Jensen stood, connected her laptop to the room's display system. The screen behind the senators lit up. This is the full metadata analysis of the photograph, Jensen said. Date, time, location, and digital signature all authenticated. The file originated from a Pentagon internal security camera. She clicked. And this is the classified directive signed at that meeting. The document appeared on screen. Dense text. Official headers. At the bottom, a signature. Leonard J. Price. The room went nuclear. Senators talking over each other. Reporters on their feet. Camera flashes strobing. Price's composure cracked. Visible. On camera. On every camera. That document is classified, he said up. Its release is a federal crime. Callahan didn't blink. Secretary Price, you are accused of authorizing the murder of American soldiers and the subsequent cover-up spanning 7 years. I'd suggest you worry less about classification and more about your answers. Price turned to Anna. His mask was slipping. Underneath was something ugly, desperate. "You think this makes you a hero?" he said. Low. Meant for her ears only, but the microphones caught it. "You're a dead woman who crawled out of a hole. Nothing you say changes what happened." Anna leaned toward her own microphone, spoke clearly. "What happened is that you sent us to die because we found evidence of your crimes. 18 soldiers went into that valley. You killed 11 of them. You spent 7 years hunting the rest." She paused. "And you failed." Price's jaw worked. No words came out. Callahan spoke. "Secretary Price, this committee is referring your case to the Department of Justice for criminal prosecution. You are hereby stripped of your security clearance, effective immediately. Federal marshals will escort you from this building." 2 marshals stepped forward. Price stood, looked around the room, at the cameras, the senators, the press. For a moment, Anna thought he might fight, might rage, might try to burn the room down with denials and threats. Instead, he buttoned his jacket, straightened his tie, and walked out between the marshals without another word. The door closed behind him. The room exhaled. Anna sat there, hands flat on the table, breathing. It was over. Cross reached over, squeezed her arm. Didn't say anything, didn't need to. Jensen closed her laptop, leaned back, closed her eyes. Graves stood at attention against the wall, tears running down his face. He didn't wipe them. In the gallery, Reyes watched the screen where Price's signature still glowed. His hands had stopped shaking for the first time in years. The aftermath unfolded over weeks. Price was indicted on 47 counts. Murder, conspiracy, obstruction, violations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. The trial was set for federal court, and every legal analyst in the country said the same thing. There was no defense. The evidence was overwhelming. Alcott pleaded guilty, cooperated fully, named every person he'd ever taken orders from or given orders to. 31 additional arrests followed. Military officers, intelligence officials, defense contractors, a network that had operated in darkness for over a decade, dragged into the light and dismantled piece by piece. The soldiers, all 312 of them, were officially recognized. Their names were read into the congressional record. Their families were notified, funds were established. It wasn't enough. Nothing could be enough. But it was a start. Cross was transferred to Walter Reed, the real Walter Reed, rebuilt and functional for proper treatment. His prognosis was cautious but hopeful. The damage from Lazarus was permanent in some ways, manageable in others. He'd never be what he was before. But he was alive, and he was free, and for the first time in 7 years he could use his own name. Jensen disappeared for a while. Took Rachel somewhere quiet, somewhere with no cameras and no databases. She sent Anna a single message 2 weeks later. "We're okay." Reyes entered a treatment program. Experimental, ironically, but this time voluntary. Supervised by doctors who actually gave a damn. The road ahead was long. The things they'd wired into his brain didn't undo themselves overnight. But he was trying. Some mornings, that was all you could ask for. Graves retired. Full honors. He'd earned them 10 times over, but the ceremony felt hollow to him. He told Anna afterward, standing outside the Pentagon in his dress uniform for the last time, that the stars on his shoulders had never felt heavier. "What will you do?" she asked. "Fish? Read? Try to sleep without seeing those files?" He looked at her. "What about you?" Anna had been offered everything. Reinstatement, back pay, promotion, a ceremony at the Pentagon with full military honors and a medal they'd designed specifically for her. She turned it all down. Not out of bitterness, not out of anger. The anger had burned through her years ago, leaving something quieter in its place, something that didn't need medals or rank to feel whole. She stood in Senator Callahan's office on a Tuesday afternoon, sunlight streaming through tall windows, and signed the papers declining reinstatement. Callahan watched her. "You could do a lot of good in uniform." "I did a lot of good out of it." "Fair point." Callahan set the papers aside. "So what now?" Anna thought about it. She'd spent 7 years being invisible. 3 years as a nurse nobody noticed. Before that, a decade as a soldier following orders. "I don't know yet," she said, "but I'll figure it out." She walked out of the Hart Building into the DC afternoon. Cherry blossoms were blooming along the mall, tourists with cameras, kids on school trips, a street musician playing something she didn't recognize. Her phone buzzed. A text from Cross. "Saw you on the news. You look tired." She smiled, typed back. "I'm tired." "Get some rest, Commander." "Don't call me that." "Fine, get some rest, Anna." She put the phone away, kept walking. A week later, she went back to Ashford. Not to stay, just to see. Grantham Memorial had reopened, rebuilt. New windows in the ICU wing, fresh paint. The parking lot was full. Anna stood across the street watching the entrance. Nurses coming and going, doctors with coffee cups, orderlies pushing wheelchairs. Normal. Ordinary. The machinery of care grinding forward. She thought about walking in, seeing who was still there, whether anyone remembered the quiet nurse from the East Wing. She didn't. Instead, she watched for a few minutes, felt the weight of the place, what it had been to her. A hiding spot, a cage, a launching pad. Then she turned and walked away. A young nurse was coming up the sidewalk, rushing, late for a shift. She bumped Anna's shoulder, muttered a quick apology without looking up, and kept going. Anna watched her disappear through the sliding doors. Once, that had been her. Head down, invisible, carrying a past too heavy to explain and a name that didn't belong to her. She thought about what Cross had asked her in that motel room, feverish and bleeding. How do you keep going? She hadn't had an answer then. She did now. You keep going because the people who wanted you silent are counting on you to stop. Because every day you refuse to disappear is a day they lose. Because the world is full of rooms where powerful men make decisions about people they'll never meet, and someone has to be willing to kick those doors open. Not a soldier, not a nurse, just someone who refused to stay buried. Anna Mercer walked down the street in Ashford, Pennsylvania, past the hospital, past the apartment she'd lived in for 3 years, past the coffee shop where she'd sat alone every Sunday morning, pretending to be someone she wasn't. She kept walking until the town was behind her, and she didn't look back.